Yes, guys, we're back. What's going on? Welcome back to the Inter Extra podcast. As you can see, me and Sean are not alone again. Once again, we have a guest this time below us. Let me introduce you first and foremost. I think you don't need much introducing, but guys, please welcome FCLM Thomas, aka founder of Inter Extra. Please give it up for him. And of course, I have Sean to my left, of course. But yeah, Thomas, welcome to the podcast, man. It's been overdue.
Let's go.
You excited to be here?
Yeah, bro. Finally. It only took a few weeks, but
Yeah,
we
no,
here.
yeah, we somehow made it. Yeah,
The
um,
highly requested.
very much
Yeah,
highly
seriously.
requested. Yeah, everyone's like, "Where's
Mhm.
Thomas on the podcast?" Like everyone's
I
commenting,
know.
"Thomas, why are you not on the podcast?" Like, come on, bro. But
I
no,
know. They're saying, "Oh, it's your podcast. Where are you?" I'm like,
no, it's the Inter
it's
Extra
not, it's
podcast.
these guys' thing.
It's only right you're here, man. It's only right you're here. But listen,
Yep.
glad to be back. Another week. Today is Wednesday. Last week we had Tuesday, I think, with Rafa. So yeah, good to be back. And we have a lot to cover. Obviously, no games this time. Feels good to be honest to get a break from football. I don't know about you guys, but for me, definitely
Yep.
much needed break now. But yeah,
Yep.
um, Sean, if you want to go ahead and let the people know, as always, where they can find us and follow us.
Yeah, as you guys know, you can find us on X at Inter_Extra, and then on YouTube at Inter Extra as well. We are getting close to 400 subs over on YouTube, so don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Make sure you don't miss a single episode. So we're gonna keep doing this. We hope to bring you along for the ride. Don't be one of the people that hop on later. Start with us now.
Exactly.
Alright.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I think we're gonna get straight into it. Obviously, like I said, we have mainly transfer rumors today since there's no football going on. I just a quick side note, guys. I don't know what the score is now, but PSG are absolutely battering Real Madrid. It's still 3-0. Okay, fair enough. They can score three more, right? They can score three more.
I was hoping. I was hoping, please.
We'll keep a little eye out. But yeah, yeah, we have a
I've been
lot.
I've been only thinking of the first half, comparing everybody to our first half because we only conceded 2 in the first half.
Oh yeah,
Inter
let's
Miami
go.
conceded
Let's go.
4,
Come on.
Real Madrid conceded 3, so that's all I'm thinking about, just the
That's a
first half
title,
of
bro. That's a
the game.
title right there. You know the gift with
Let's
the
go.
trophy that doesn't have a yeah,
The
that's our
invisible
title.
trophy.
Yeah, invisible
Yeah.
trophy. There you go. I think we're gonna jump straight into the news because I have about 40 tabs open on my right hand side right here. First and foremost, guys, Denzel Dumfries has a release clause. This came out I think 2 or 3 days ago first, or 4 days ago even, and then we had an update on the end of the release clause. Thomas, I'm gonna ask you on this because I know you tweeted most of this. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, so I think it caught everyone by surprise. It seems like even these like journalists like Sky Sport, like Barzaghi, he even came out and said a few days ago that he wasn't even aware of it until after a few days after it came out. But essentially, it was last summer Denzel Dumfries was going into his last year of his contract.
Right.
He was asking for, I think, a pretty high salary, 5-6 million, which for Inter is pretty high. And I think from what it seems like, it was either okay, you pay him more, or you give this release clause as kind of a way out. And yeah, it's a shame how low it is.
Yeah, and seemingly, let me just go back on the tweet again because seemingly it's valid again next summer in case he stays. I don't know about winter transfer window. We have to kind of see on that, but I remember last year him asking for I think it was 5.5, right? For 5.5 net for salary, and then I think he agreed on 4.5 or something like that. But we didn't know about this stuff at all, which makes me think
Yeah.
that there's these things kind of get like brushed under the table and or under the what I'm saying, and we don't really hear about it until now because now it's relevant. But yeah, very interesting. I want you guys, and I'm gonna ask you as well, Sean, to put your kind of predictions in if anyone's gonna trigger that because 25 million's very low, right?
Yeah, especially for his value now after this incredible season that he had. And of course, that release clause could actually be a reason for his motivation behind this incredible season. He wanted to show out and earn a little bit more money elsewhere because he's 28 right now. This is the time to go to the Premier League and get that money if he was to go. Um, I I think it happens not so much that I see Denzel pushing his way out, but his new agent, um, Jorge Mendes,
Yeah.
who's Cristiano Ronaldo's agent, he's a super agent. You know, he gets big moves for players. He's known for it. So I know Uncle Sharma said something about it when it first came out, and he made a video on it, and he was spot on that this new agent points to him leaving. But I don't think Denzel will push to leave. So it's really about whether it gets done under the time frame of the release clause. So um, I think that they're going to push for it to happen, and Denzel deserves to get that money if he does go. But yeah, it's a low value for his season.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, an agent change always looks like, you're trying to not push your way up, but you're trying to make something happen. I don't think
Yeah.
he's going to push to leave, but my thing is like, if a club comes and pays that, I don't think he's going to be against it, especially if his salary is going to be, above 5 million. I think it has to be significantly higher because, he's obviously happy at Inter. He was, again, I'll say this again, he was one of the few players that went to the fans and apologized after the Champions League final, which, shows a different level of care that you have about the club. Um, yeah, Thomas, do you think he's leaving?
Um, the tricky thing is that for this release clause, it has to be paid entirely in one installment, right? Which I think makes it a bit more difficult for most clubs. I think the most likely landing spot for him, regardless of this release clause, would always have been the Premier League. He's always been linked to, United, Chelsea, even City. Like for the past summers, he's always been linked to the Premier League, and I think they're the only clubs with that kind of spending power who could trigger a release clause, 25 million all in one go.
Right.
Um, Hard to say if he goes or not. But then I think also the fact that he changes agencies right at the beginning of the summer, like that's not a great look, right? Why would you just renegotiated your contract, 6, 7, 8 months ago? Why are you changing agents now?
Yeah, facts.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I think that also is the reason we found out about the release clause. It's like you switch agents and you say, "Hey, I've got this,"
yeah.
and so then the agents know, which is then the news gets out.
Yeah, I
So
think that information kind of gets like filtered out through those changes. Maybe I don't know how that works, because I'm not a journalist, but definitely interesting. What's also interesting is we have this just literally just in like an hour ago. Hakan Calhanoglu. We were gonna discuss all of the drama that happened over the past week. We already discussed it last week, but the actual transfer drama, him being in Turkey, like on holiday and then injured, but then he released a statement and then it was fine and whatever. He will stay, right? This is confirmed by Sky Sport Italia, who, know their stuff, Di Marzio. And there are no conditions to move forward in negotiations with Galatasaray. And then this is what Pasquale Guaro said. He said that after Lautaro Morato spoke publicly, the issue erupted among the squad back at the hotel. Some sided with Lautaro, but many sided with Calhanoglu instead, expressing that certain matters should be clarified privately. And then this is just a bunch of stuff about, what we've seen throughout the week. But Inter has let it be known to the media that Hakan will stay at the club, but we'll see if that is actually the case or if more drama will unfold. I don't know if if Marotta called up Sky Sport and said, listen, like the drama's done, he's staying. But this is what it looks like, right? Like there's obviously Galatasaray, I think that there's a major dressing room problem, but they're obviously just trying to stir up the whole issue. Yeah, what do you guys think?
I think Galatasaray is trying to lower the price for themselves, and then Inter, I think, are holding firm on their price, and especially I can't say for certain, but there was something recently, like in the last hour or two. Um, I think it might have been DiMarzio who said the price that Galatasaray have tried to talk about, even though they've also said that there are no direct contacts between the clubs. So it's all confusing, but lowballing basically.
Yeah, they said 10
Uh,
million, by the way, just so you know.
yeah, yeah. So Galatasaray are lowballing, and Inter's not going to do that. And so, all right, well, no, he's not leaving. Not for that price, and not at all anymore. If that's how we're going to be treated, so um, Inter are right to stand firm on that, but I'll be the skeptic and I'll say that it's a negotiation tactic, not so much a definitive statement. So, and I know Thomas, you just mentioned something. You tweeted something about this earlier as well.
Yeah.
You wanna-
Yeah, that was just my like personal opinion. Like, I don't know, maybe it was the right summer to move on with this whole rebuild, high salary, oak tree, young mix up, whatever. Yeah, but I think kind of what always was the case was that Galatasaray was really willing to spend high on the wages and not as much the transfer fee, which is probably what we're seeing now. Like, and Inter was right to, or is right to continue to stand firm on its 30 million valuation. You know, because Hakan is he's a key player for a top European team. Like, why would you just let him go for cheap, even if there are, you know, whatever these issues in the dressing room? But yeah, I don't know. I would be surprised if it's definitively over because I can't see him just, and I know these guys are top professionals or whatever, and you know, they're grown men and they can figure things out, but I personally would find it hard to see him just go back to preseason training in, you know, a week and a half, 2 weeks, whenever it is, and just, you know, move forward like nothing happened, right? Like, you got less than 2 weeks ago, you got called out publicly by your captain who didn't even do it.
Yeah,
And then the president goes on and name drops and be like, no, he was talking about you. Like, I don't know. It's all weird to me. It's
I
all
don't
really weird to me.
I don't think Lauti was happy about the way that Beppe did that as well. I don't
Right?
think that was I don't think that was planned like that because Beppe just wanted to stir up all the drama, which again I said it last week. I don't know what the point in that was. But I agree with what you said, you know, maybe it's the right summer to move on. I initially tweeted like good. I just retweeted the news and said good because I don't think we have the need to sell him. However, then
Yeah.
someone pointed out, you know, when is the right time to sell him then? And I was like, well, yeah, you know, you can always sell him next summer theoretically. We're acting like some people are acting like he's 35 years old and this is the last time that we're going to get any decent amount of money out of him. He's like 30, 31, 32. That's not an age where the next summer everything's over and you can't get money from him. Even if he's 33, 34, a Saudi club will still pay you 20 to 30 million for Calhanoglu. Like, even maybe a Turkish club, you never know. So maybe not Galatasaray because they usually like to be a bit cheap. But I don't see it as like a last chance miss to sell him or whatever people are making out to be. And now we can't get Edison, now we can't get Rios or whatever, which we'll get into later too. I don't see it as much of like a, you know, oh, this is the last chance. But we'll see.
Galatasaray are also cheap when it comes to Hakan, apparently.
Oh
Just
yeah,
Hakan.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, we saw the Osimhen news, right? They want to pay the release clause of
Oh, what
65
is it?
million.
Like 75 million release
65
clause?
million,
Or...
yeah. They got that
Where's
money, but
that?
they don't have
Come
30 mil
on.
for Hakan. Like, come on, bro.
Now we know you got it. So
Yeah,
come on. Like,
I think that's why we're
what do we
standing
do
on
it?
business now because
Well,
we
yeah,
know, yeah.
obviously.
Beppe saw the news and was like, "Hey, you got the money. You're just acting like you broke, bro." But nah, it's interesting. Speaking of Galatasaray, since we're on the topic, Jan Sommer is the most expensive player on Galatasaray's goalkeeper list in terms of salary. Like that's if they sign him. Very can sound a bit confusing, but I get what you mean. And they've asked for or he's asked for an annual salary of 8 million net. I don't know what he earns right now. I think it's like 3 to 4, right? Or 5. Well, actually,
I'm
6.
not sure. Something like
I don't know.
I would be surprised if it was 6.
Um,
Probably 3-4 would be my
yeah.
guess.
Inter will let Sommer leave without a transfer fee if Galatasaray agrees to that salary, this is interesting, right? Because Sommer's obviously now on the age where he's like 34, 35, 36. The fact that they would let him leave for free is interesting. Now, I know we only signed him for 6 million, but still.
Yeah.
I don't know realistically how much we would get for him anyways. A couple million. I guess that's better than nothing.
I guess.
Yeah.
But does he really need to go?
Yeah. No, I would say no. I don't think he needs to go. For a couple reasons. If you think that if you get rid of Jan Sommer, then you have to go replace him with someone, right? We're not moving up. What is our Di Gennaro up to second goalkeeper for next season? It's not happening.
Get out.
So we have to go and get someone new, which is going to cost money. But if you just hold on to Sommer for one more year, then of course he can definitely leave for free at the end of his contract. And all of the news that we have been seeing about another goalkeeper that we've been thinking about for months to sign next summer for free from PSG, Donnarumma, which is going to be high wages. But again, do you spend money on a goalkeeper to be either second goalkeeper or fighting for that first spot with Martinez? Like what's the plan there if you're getting rid of Sommer?
Yeah.
I mean, I asked this question when we signed Martinez because I was convinced that Filip Stankovic is good enough to be a backup goalkeeper and to develop under Sommer. And then apparently, like, Beppe saw something in Josep Martinez that made him spend 15 million, or the whole board anyway. Like, obviously there's a plan with him, and if you sign a Donnarumma, then, you kind of have to have that, like, battle for starting goalkeeper, because, not to make Donnarumma look like the same level as Martinez, because obviously he's a level above. But Martinez isn't he's like Donnarumma's age, no? Like he's like 1-2 years younger. We forget that Donnarumma's still very young, for a goalkeeper especially. So I don't really know what the plan was in general. I said, yeah, Di Gennaro cannot be second goalkeeper. Let's bring back Filip Stankovic, bro. I'm all for it. So I know you're smiling, Thomas, but I would genuinely again, I don't think Sommer's leaving, but if he would theoretically leave, there would obviously be some sort of change would need to happen, obviously.
Yeah. I just don't get it. I don't get the plan.
No, me neither. Thomas, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want him to leave, but my expectation was always that last year Josep Martinez would join and learn under Sommer, and then this season it would be like, it was like when Onana and Handanovic kind of swapped.
Yeah, in 22,
and then
23,
we kind of phased out Handanovic, and then Onana kind of exploded. But then it's like if Sommer leaves, you have Josep Martinez, you sign a backup goalie, you're spending money there, and then next year with the Donnarumma, it all makes no sense. And my opinion on the Filip Stankovic is that I feel like young goalkeepers have to be playing like week in, week out. I don't think it would be super beneficial for him to come and play like Coppa Italia 5 times a season or whatever.
Yeah.
But I do like him a lot, Filip Stankovic. He was so good. I think in particular against us last season, which is like, of course.
Prime example, yeah.
And Napoli. He had a great game against
Yes.
Napoli.
So he saved that Lukaku pen, bro. He had me dreaming, bro. I promise you, he had me dreaming that day. But no, I agree. I think Stankovic definitely deserves his chance. It's just a bit unfortunate with how it went. And then I like the idea of, rotating between Sommer and Martinez every now and then. Maybe give Martinez Champions League. You can't go wrong.
Because I really liked him when he played last season, and I didn't think Sommer had a great Club World Cup. No. So I was kind of thinking like, okay, if Galatasaray wants to sign, at that point I was like, okay, if you're gonna pay 5 million, take him, and we have Josep Martinez already. But then it's like, then what?
It would almost seem like an Aldero again. You get
exactly.
loan.
Yeah.
You get a loan who's happy to be a second choice goalie. And
Fair enough, man. We'll see where that goes, but I don't see much in it personally. I just feel like there's not really much in it.
again, like with this Calhanoglu stuff, it's like the Osimhen deal is kind of dependent, like making or breaking these two, Sommer and Calhanoglu. It's like if they spend all this crazy money on Osimhen, then they have far less to spend on their other targets, which is what Fabrizio Romano's like been saying for the past week or two. It's like if Osimhen closes, Hakan and Sommer are like not likely, which makes sense. If they spend that huge crazy amount of money there, like then their budget is completely different.
Yeah.
And it's looking like they're about to sign Osimhen on a permanent, which is insane.
Yeah. I was just on it just a few seconds ago. In terms of Mehdi Taremi, because it looks like an intermediary is working on basically getting rid of him. That sounds pretty bad, but you know, the asking price from Inter is 10 million, and he has interest from Fulham, I think, and there was another team, Fenerbahce. So the Besiktas stuff has kind of faded, it seems like. But he does have interest from Fulham, from the Premier League, and from Fenerbahce. And it's apparently confirmed, according to Matteo Bazzaghi, who says that he will leave Inter, and the club is in talks with his agent to find a solution. I don't know if that's with that Middle Eastern intermediary as well, but seemingly they're just trying to get him gone. And rather than finding a like-for-like striker replacement, an attacking midfielder would be the target, which we'll get onto a little bit later again. But this is seemingly the key to making a signing in that department for Inter. He just needs to leave first, which is interesting because they clearly don't want to have a situation where they have him leave like late August, or not leave at all, you know, like Korea last season. They probably don't want that in order to make sure that they actually have space for a fifth striker or a number 10 or whatever else they want to sign. So, yeah, this is the news on Taremi. Like, it doesn't really matter for Inter, right? But where is he going, guys? Any guesses?
10 million is a lot for him.
Yeah, who's
Just
paying that?
straight up? Who I know Fenerbahce is not paying that.
No way.
I would be shocked if who's it, Fulham or
Fulham,
Yeah.
he's been linked to like Nottingham Forest or something. Like,
Yeah.
who? It doesn't even matter where he's going. 10 million is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are my thoughts exactly. If you get 10 million for him,
Fair play, bro. Whoever, Auxilio, bro, I take everything back if you get 10 million for Taremi, bro. Fair play. That's all I'm gonna say.
All this stuff about not being able to sell our players, 10 million for Taremi. Oh,
I'm taking the hashtag out of my Twitter name.
Oh yeah, go on.
Auxilio in.
I'm crying. No, that would be funny. Imagine 10. I'll swim in that cash, bro.
Bro.
We'll see. We have to. Like, I don't like forcing players out, but we kind of have to force them out. Let's be honest, guys. Like,
at this point, there comes a time you have to be ruthless at some point, and it's not even ruthless. It's just like, listen.
No, but the transfer market is ruthless.
Sorry, thank you for whatever. See ya.
For what? Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like,
thank you for what? Like,
thank you for your efforts. It is business, right? It's business.
Yeah, exactly. But he kind of just has to accept it. I know he wants to stay, but I think at some point you just gotta accept your fate and be like, yeah, okay, like it is what it is.
We cannot have another Correa and Arnautovic situation.
Not.
Like Alexis Sanchez situation as well.
No. Yeah, it's been a theme over the past years, and it's just at some point you have to be like, sorry.
Yeah, especially because the striker position is the most important. According to a lot of people, and especially in, you know, a team like Inter where we need those like clinical finishers, we need those strikers that are hungry for goals. Taremi was, I don't know what he was hungry for, but clearly not for goals. So
he tried. You could see he was trying.
Yeah,
it
but
just
trying to
working.
play
it just did not work.
But exactly.
It was not working. And yeah, we goals from our backups. Last season we had nothing from our backup strikers.
Yeah.
Last season we had close to nothing. Now we have some young options, Pio, Boni, and yeah, we'll see. We'll
All
see.
right, this car right here. I should probably blur out the license plate now that I'm looking at it. But this is Christian Kivu driving out of the Inter headquarters after his meeting on Monday. I want to say 7th of July, and it was 2+ hours long with Ausilio and Bakin, and there was a few points that were, I guess, like came out of that meeting. They also had a meeting today, which is interesting. He's working hard, clearly, Christian Kivu. But so he had another transfer market planning session today. But the news that came out from Monday's session was several departures are possible. Obviously, Calhanoglu kind of off the table now. Asllani, and then one of Pavard or Bisseck, which is interesting. We've already talked about Calhanoglu. We'll get into Asllani later. We've talked about the Dumfries release clause. The club would consider 65 to 70 million offers for Thuram, and Davide Fortesi staying. We'll get into later as well. I want to talk about the Pavard Bisseck stuff and about Thuram. What, like, do we really think? Because it says departures are possible, but does that really mean that we have to sell one of Pavard or Bisseck? Maybe it wouldn't be dumb, but yeah.
Thomas, you can go first.
Okay. I don't think it's a have to, or it shouldn't be a have to, right?
Right.
I think we desperately need a signing in defense in the center of our back three. Desperately. That should have been our priority last
Yeah.
summer. Should be near top of the list this summer. And I'm wondering, or it's kind of seeming like, does that signing happen because of a Pavard or Bisseck sale? I think there was talk of, a bit of a budget for a central center back. Don't know what's happened to that.
Does it just kind of vanish?
It's kind of, there was talk of 30 million. I was like, okay, let's go, and then
Wasn't that
nothing.
Gazzetta?
It
Yeah,
was. It was. I know
crickets,
it
bro. They're
was.
selling us dreams.
The less the less said about that, the better, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. There was a long time ago where I made a post where I said I would consider selling Pavard before I considered Bisseck.
Same, by the way.
Which was fair at the time, and I think it still is. I think I'm 50-50. I would understand if we sold either of them. Bisseck probably has a higher market value, especially in the Premier League. But I also really like Bisseck, even though he does have those like bozo moments sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. It's hard to say. Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you. I would also sell Pavard before Bisseck. I'm just thinking about on a couple things that Kivu said, or some reports about what Kivu wants coming up in this next season, and something he wanted to see in the Club World Cup, which is front foot defending. And Bisseck's moments came in deep blocks, right? So if he's having to sit in the box for the last 45 minutes, the entire second half, then I can see something like that happening. He's not built as a defender that way. Um, and it's also, he's not the only one that kind of had those moments this past season as well. I think I'm wondering whether Inzaghi's preparation for this season has highlighted those issues. They didn't have the energy to be focused for 90 minutes. And a lot of these moments came after 75 minutes. So even if he was brought on as a sub, it's just those last 15 minutes, it seemed almost as if he was kind of targeted. But yeah, he's not a defend in the box type of defender. And so if Kivu wants to change that, he's the one that has to stay. We don't have any center backs with his physical qualities, the pace, the height,
I
to play a higher line, and for the recovery pace that he has to play front foot defending. So because of that, I would want Bisseck to stay. And I would like to see more growth because he has improved since the season before. And we were talking about Hakan. This might not be the last summer that we could get value from him, but with Pavard and injuries and just the kind of defender that he is, he wants to be a center back. He's played as a right back for most of his career. How much value can you get from him? And so if we can get something from him this summer, that opens up not only the price and his salaries off the wages, that opens up that center back reinforcement that we desperately need. So
that's why I'm more for selling Bisseck as well. Sorry, for selling Pavard as well, is because of that inconsistency, not just with performances, but obviously also with injuries. Like what you said, he's played as right back for the majority of his career or the start of his career. I think right centre back is his position. If he's going to play in a team with a three at the back formation, he's going to be that right centre back, and that's where he thrives the most, in my opinion. He's very good, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we need to sell Pavard because he's not good. But like I said, those inconsistencies on every level just kind of like make me more lean towards that. And then with Bisseck, the thing is, contrary to the Calhanoglu stuff, his value's not going to go down. His value's actually going to go up. Like if he has another banger season, and I say another banger season, if he has his first like very, very good season, Bisseck, then and he's already had like performances last season where you kind of like, yeah, this guy, he can defend. Like I remember that left centre back performance against Saka locked him down. Like these kind of performances, if he can pull those like off regularly, his value can double if not triple. We're not talking about. I mean, I have it right here. He has a 120 million release clause. I think that's a bit crazy. I see you laughing, bro. When I saw that from Spot Media, so I had to laugh a little bit because that is hilarious. They know what they're doing.
That's like Spain putting in 800 million.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like the Pedri or Gavi 1 billion. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a bit crazy, I think. But the value can obviously like significantly increase if he has even just one season. We know this market, like people buy into everything these days. Like people buy off of 6 good months, right? Not even a full season. People like, especially the Premier League, will buy a player off of you if he has 3, 4, 5, 6 good months, and that's it. And if Bisseck has a very good season, or even just a decent season, he'll be worth like 50, 60, 70. So I'm not worried in terms of Bisseck. We can sell him whenever. But yeah, so
full German international too now. Next year, World Cup year, like you never know.
There you go. He would be stupid for him to go into a new environment to when he's right here.
Speaking of, next summer Bayern could come in.
Facts.
Yeah.
Talk about German giants that have money to spend on a center back, and I would say Bisseck is becoming better than Upamecano, who, if you see a bunch of Bayern fans complain about him and his issues all the time.
Yeah.
So, there's going to be a market for Bisseck, and he's 23, 24 right now. He's only going to improve, in my opinion. And Kivu being a defender also, I think he'll know how to help him and any young defender that we bring in.
Definitely. Guys, I just saw we're just over 30 minutes already, and we have a lot of these news to go. We're not going to breeze through them, but we're slightly going to, speed it up a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. The one thing we can talk a little bit more in depth about is the Asllani stuff. Now, I know he's only Calhanoglu's backup, quote unquote, only. But there has been the Real Betis links, and they put in a bid of 8 million, which made me laugh at first. But then someone, I think I watched Sharma's video earlier today, how he explained, it could be like an Agume type deal where you say, okay, you let them pay 4 million, but then you have a 50% sell-on clause, and then if they pay another 4 million, I think they get 40% more or something like that. Which, by the way, I think they're going to do actually. So Inter might get another 4 million of that. We'll have to see what happens with that. But yeah, 8 million looks a bit low, but it might not be because they might. But I don't think Inter would accept that regardless. Plus, it seems like, according to Sky Sport, that Asllani is not convinced to join Real Betis. I wouldn't be either if I was him. And then we have the Bologna links too, just from this evening, where they're looking for a midfielder or a midfield reinforcement. Inter values the midfielder at 80 million, which again shows that 8 million will never be enough, even with a sell-on clause. And Bologna only want to pay 10 million. A loan is possible, but I still don't see it. Plus, this is Corriere. Take it with a pinch of salt. Don't believe that straight away. But obviously there's a few clubs in for him. I just don't really see it. Like, I think he wants to prove himself at Inter. Let him, man. Let him. Like, I know it's been a few seasons, but I feel like selling him for even less than 15, even with a sell-on clause, like, no. I'd take 20 for him, yeah, but anything less, he's still young. And you never know. New manager. For me personally, I would love to hear your guys' opinion, but for me personally, I don't think we have to sell him or we have to get rid of him.
I would definitely be open to selling him. No way for 10 million or whatever, we're seeing. Like 10 million. I saw this post earlier and it's like Asllani has been, at a top club like Inter for 3 years, going into his fourth or something like that, or maybe it's 2 and going into his third. And it's 10 million is the same value as Alexander Stankovic is going to Club Brugge. That, like, how can that be possible? He's been here for 3-4 years, played 2 Champions League final, whatever. How is that possible?
I guess people argue because Stankovic is younger, right?
Well, I didn't even think about that. He's not much younger.
He's had one professional season.
Let's have a look.
Yeah.
One professional season
I think
in Belgium.
Asllani's 23 and Stankovic is 20.
It's like,
No, Stankovic is 19. He's 2005.
Is he?
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
he's 19.
Damn.
And Asllani
I didn't even think about that.
23. Yeah.
Selling him for either the same or less than Stankovic. I know release clauses
Or
would be
barely
outrageous.
more, even. Like,
Yeah.
Asllani realistically, it should be like a 25 million euro player
100%.
in an ideal world.
100%.
Yeah.
25-30.
Yeah.
Like, this guy plays regularly for Inter, Champions League. He played all of our games at the Club World Cup. I didn't think he was terrible,
It was okay.
but I'm still.
No, he's not a terrible player. And if
No.
we look at the prices that German clubs can get for rotation players, 15 to 20 million is not hard for them. The Premier League can sell rotation players for 30 million. It shouldn't be this low, even with the 50% sell-on clauses. It doesn't matter to me.
And Sean, because you mentioned it, the Premier League can also pay 25 to 30 million for rotation players. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, a Nottingham Forest can go and spend 30 million on Asllani easily because they can spend how much did they pay for Sangaré back in the day from PSV? I remember that deal. They paid like
No
35,
idea. Was it a
40.
lot?
Yeah, it was 35, 40. Like, come on, bro.
Those are the numbers we should be seeing for
100
an
million
international.
%. 100 million %.
20 million falls out of their pockets
Right.
Literally.
all the time.
Literally.
Yeah.
They play with the career mode financial boost, bro. That's what they do. So I just wanna because I forgot earlier, I just wanna highlight the Thuram release clause that expired, right? So it's irrelevant now.
Mhm.
But we saw the news about, potentially selling him for 65 to 70. I don't see much in it. Like, I don't think we're going to sell him, but it's interesting that, that's the kind of asking price. No one's going to pay that after the second half of the season that he had. And the way he just kind of looks unbothered in terms of whenever he's been playing, especially at the Club World Cup, like, very much Arnautovic-like behavior.
Yeah.
I don't think he's leaving. Like, let me know, guys. But
I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
I would be really surprised if he did.
Yeah, and there's no names, no teams.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
them.
No names. I don't think there's much to it at all. The difference, we have a different situation with Tajon Buchanan, who played a great Gold Cup, by the way. I know you're devastated already, but played a great Gold Cup with Canada, one of the standout players for sure. Villarreal are back in the race for him, which is funny because they had a buy option and they didn't take it, and now they're back in the race. Fair enough.
Yeah, it might just be like throwing their name out because they already had him.
Probably we
that.
know the source, right? We can see it right here. But Brentford are also interested, and Eintracht Frankfurt are also interested, who have all inquired, right? So maybe there is something to it. But Inter asked for 15 million. this looks like he's leaving. He probably is. Like, let's be real. But because I don't think Inter want to be stuck with another Lazaro situation where you then loan him out 5 times and then nothing happens. But I don't really see, again, fair play for having a good Gold Cup, but I don't see him staying realistically, right?
No, I don't think he's in the plans, and it's just a shame that he had to go through this with finally getting his chance next last summer, and then getting a broken leg. It just was unfortunate. So
Yeah, very much.
I mean, Villarreal, I think they didn't sign him because they couldn't pay the 15 million option. So I know our price is 15 million, but I think they're trying to pay less, and that's why they didn't take the option. I think I saw that somewhere.
Was the option 50 million? Thomas, do you know?
It might have even been less. It might. I swear.
How much did we
initially pay? How much did we initially pay for him?
We paid like 8 for in the winter.
8 is crazy. I think it might have been like 12 or 13. Basically around 15.
Regardless, let me check whilst I'm showing you guys the next piece of news right here. Because today, this came out just an hour ago as well. Today, Inter and Genoa met again to discuss Valentin Carboni. I know Nico Schira said that is close, or like one step away, as he likes to say. But it's expected to be sealed next week, right? So seemingly he wants to start preseason with Genoa, or most of preseason anyway. I don't know if they start already, but it looks like it looks like Valentin Carboni is going on loan. I would have liked to keep him as a fifth striker, as that number 10 that we're looking for. Again, I don't see the need to get an Nkunku or Asensio when we have him at home. Literally, there's Rice at home. Like, why are we looking at, like, again, he doesn't need to play every game, but if he gets a decent amount of game time, that 3-4-2-1 formation that Kibu might want to implement, right? I don't see anything wrong with keeping him, but I guess maybe Kibu sees it differently.
Yeah, Thomas, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I feel like he's better than a fifth option. I think he's definitely better than a fifth option, and I think coming off an ACL, it's just better for him to go and play regularly. He's not quite a second or third, definitely not a second. Sorry, I meant a third or fourth option at Inter, but he's better than a fifth option at Inter. So if he can go be a second, even first option at a club like Genoa, then I think that's best case scenario. And it's a dry loan too, straight loan, no buy option, no buy obligation, anything like that. So he goes, he comes back, and I think Genoa even get some appearance related bonuses depending on how many matches he plays. I don't know, those numbers haven't come out, but it's just more incentive for the club to play him and get money, which I think is good.
I think there's
which is best case scenario.
There's no or little to basically like a loan fee. But they basically have to play him in order to get more money or something like that. I saw one of the tweets about it a couple of days ago.
Which is interesting, but
I like that because it forces them to play him if they want to get their money, basically, right? The Buchanan release clause was 13 million, by the way. I just looked it up. So 2 million more, right? But yeah. Sean, do you want to say anything on Carboni?
Yeah, I think it's the right thing for him right now in his career. Inter's, if we want to continue to be ruthless, we're not the club for him to be rehabilitating his career. It's a shame. And I want to see his quality. And like Thomas said, fifth option, we're not going to get enough of that. And knowing that it's a dry loan, knowing that he's going to come back is good. So yeah, it's making sure that he's getting the game time he deserves.
Yeah, right.
Seeing what he can do.
Yeah, right. I think I kind of forgot that in my evaluation, because you need to remember that he is coming back from an ACL injury. Again, it probably makes more sense in this regard, but yeah, his brother Franco Carboni is his brother? He is, right? Is one step away from joining Empoli on loan. Also interesting. Obviously they have been relegated now.
Have they?
Yeah.
Shoot, I was just gonna ask. They got relegated?
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
why
Oh,
Sebastiano
true. I
Esposito
thought he
came
was
back.
right. Darn, I thought he was going to Serie A. I was like, oh, nice, but that's a bit of a that's too bad.
Yeah, wasn't he at
I,
Venezia?
Yeah, he was, and
So now
yeah,
he's
I
going
don't think he
back down.
played though.
I saw this one game against Milan he played, and he was like half decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going
But
to be
that
playing for a team that's fighting for promotion though, which is I think a
yeah
better situation.
yeah
He's
It's just
obviously
it's
not
just
into
interesting.
quality though. That's the thing. He's obviously just,
no
doesn't have
no
the talent for that, but I guess it makes sense if he wants to play consistently. And then
yeah
this is something that's apparently very close. This depends on the Yashari to Milan deal. Because Inter and Club Brugge are on the way for Alexander Stankovic, or negotiations are underway, sorry, for Alexander Stankovic, and all the conditions are there for a deal to close. However, Inter will not give the green light without a buyback clause. Very, very smart. So yeah, like I said, this depends on if Yashari goes to Milan, who's their like main midfielder, number 6, number 8. I don't actually know, but he's going to Milan for a fee of like 35 or 40 million, which is crazy for the Belgian league.
yeah.
Milan, I guess they know what they're doing, but hopefully they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
think
this
that's
is
their Reinders replacement, right?
yeah,
So
that's what
they
I
got
was
all the
about to
money.
say. They have the money from Randers and they're looking for, I guess the next best replacement, if that makes sense. Now, is it coming from the Belgian league? Maybe, but Brugge are known to have some good talents. Their star winger just went to Sunderland as well. He got promoted, so they have talent coming out of their ranks. But I think this is a good move. I think the Belgian league is a step above or maybe a half a step above the Swiss league. And, if he plays well, we have the buyback clause. Hopefully it's not that high. And then, we can bring him back and then either sell him for more or actually, include him in the squad, which I feel like he's ready to be a replacement or a vice Calhanoglu now. But clearly Asllani's staying, so I guess that's
That's
there.
what I was thinking too. If both of our the two players in that position, Calhanoglu and Asllani, if they were gonna leave, both of them were gonna leave, I would have been like, okay, why would we not keep Stankovic?
Yeah.
But now if Calhanoglu's gonna stay and Asllani might as well, then yeah, there's no point. So hopefully he I never watched him, but stats wise he always looked good. And so yeah, hopefully he does
I'll
well.
have to watch him this season. I might even go try and see a game live.
Oh yeah.
Because it will be close to me. Like I'll hopefully be able to go and see a game live. See how he plays, see how he
Yeah.
like dictates the pace of the play.
Scout him live.
Yeah, for sure.
Do we know if they're playing in Europe this season, Brugge?
I can check for you. But yeah, I'll check for you in a second, Sean.
Okay.
But yeah, do you agree in general, Sean? Just
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. It just yeah, if we do get a good buyback clause on that, then I'm happy because
yeah,
then we still have the option to get him back. I think he's gonna do well.
yeah, fair enough. Next up we have Sebastiano Esposito, who has interest from Cagliari and Fiorentina, so Serie A clubs, and then from RC Lens as well in the French league, who obviously had Martin Satriano, or still have Martin Satriano, who is a former player of ours. And they are looking to replace Bala Nzola, right? Familiar name. He wasn't the greatest for them last season, so they're looking for a new striker. I think he's ready to play at a club like that. Yeah, where would you guys send him?
I think
Huh?
I think Lens uh or Fiorentina are good places for him. I think those are two good squads and actually fighting for Europe as well. And I think that's a good spot for his quality and his level. So um, again, we talked about it last week and the week before, Simi, I think, but the valuation that he has compared to what other strikers are bringing in, just whatever. Hopefully, this bidding war increases that price a little bit.
Max.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, I would like to see him shine at Fiorentina next to Moise Kean. I think that would be a good because Goodman's and Simi are going to play on the wing. So I think he'd do a good job there, but also in the French league, I feel like the French league would suit him. Yeah, I don't mind. Let me go to this tweet right here because this is a bit more important. Davide Fratesi is seemingly 99%, 100%, whatever, staying. Now, the board is even considering renewing his contract because he's considered an important player. Whatever that means, if that means that the formation is actually going to be switched a lot more to the 3-4-2-1. But clearly, Kivu sees a role for him. And unless a significant offer comes in from abroad, right, that's an important detail, because they don't want to sell to a direct opponent. The midfielder is in Christian Kivu's plans. I don't see anyone, maybe like a Nottingham Forest, again, maybe one of those type of clubs, to come in for him. But I don't think anyone would offer whatever significant means, right? I'll ask that to you guys as well. But it looks like he's staying, yeah.
Yeah, which you know what, like fair enough, right? Like I understood the willingness to sell him and move on from him because he would attract a large fee, but I also think he was, or in his role, he was pretty important for us. And even though he didn't have as good a season or this past season as he did 2 years ago, I think if we're changing our system a little bit and want to be a bit more flexible tactically, I think he'll definitely benefit from this Kivu system, maybe playing a bit higher up the pitch, just behind the strikers, or yeah. So I guess I'm happy.
Yeah, I agree. And not getting rid of him means less turnover in the midfield department, right? If we're thinking, I mean, of course, we were seeing Hakan, not so much anymore, but then Asllani also leaving. We've brought in Sucic. Yeah, how many other moves can be made in the midfield without really blowing the entire midfield up? So continuity is good to a certain degree. So not losing 3 midfielders in one summer is nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Sean, I have the answer to your question. Club Brugge are going to play Champions League qualification. 1 round, so the playoff round. So,
Really?
yeah,
Just the last round?
just the last round, seemingly, yeah.
So in the Europa League at the lowest.
Pretty much, yeah. I think that's what it means.
Yeah, cool.
So
Oh, that's good.
he'll have international football as well, which is good. I don't think he had that at Luzern.
That's really
I think,
good.
yeah. So,
No.
yeah, that's another bonus for him. He'll get like a good 40, 50 games in. Super League side, Rizespor want to loan out Thomas Palacios. I'm not convinced personally by him.
No.
But
This guy was getting benched at Monza, bro. Like,
yeah, that's a new low, bro. I
that
don't think
says
that
it
looks
all.
not good looks for your CV personally, but
No.
If he can gather some sort of, I mean, of course, after this next year, his value on the books is going to be next to nothing because we got
right.
him for next to nothing. But yeah, if he can get some sort of interest to just get him off the books next summer, kudos, cool. Glad he's getting some game time.
It's a shame, man. I remember all of the drama when, we didn't know if we were going to sign him last season. And then he did what, like, basically nothing. I remember I saw him live at the Coppa Italia game against Udinese. Come on for like 30 minutes. That's the most. I think I saw him live more than you guys even watched him from the TV. So, definitely an interesting career path so far in terms of since he moved to Europe. But that's the risk. Like, it's rough. You see this. He comes from South America. You don't speak the language. You get shipped out on loan after 6 months. It's difficult. You kind of have to feel for him, but that's.
I remember
that's how
that
it goes.
his first appearance for Inter or whatever, his substitute. But he was like sort of decent.
Yeah, it was
He showed some,
against
like, good
Empoli, I
progressive
think.
runs. Oh, was it? Okay, I don't even remember. But I
I
remember
don't
like people
remember
were
that.
kind of hyping him up. I was like, okay, maybe he's so tall. He was making some nice progressive runs from deep in our half, and
Yeah.
then he just fell off a cliff. I don't know.
I don't know. You kind of go a feel for him. Then we have some Primavera guys that are getting shipped out on different loans because they obviously don't, or them and their camps don't want to play for the under 23. Just to drop a few names, we have yeah, 4 names: Thomas Behrenbruch, Giacomo De Pere, Luca Di Maggio, and Isiaka Kamate. There we go. Who are both linked. So De Pere and Kamate are linked to Juve Stabia in Serie B, and Spezia are also interested in Behrenbruch and De Pere, and then Padova is interested in Luca Di Maggio. Correct me if I'm wrong. Padova is also Serie B, right?
Yes.
There we go. And then Empoli have also inquired, and Monza have also inquired about De Pieri. So, couple of good options there. I think Serie B is definitely, the right step, at least for the next season for a lot of them. Under 23 would probably be too low. So for those, especially for those 4 players, they all have the talent to play in Serie B. Would you guys keep them at under 23? I personally wouldn't, right?
No, I think this is the right move for all of them. Just move them up, make the next step, and continue to move them up as you go. 19 years old playing in Serie B. Hopefully they do well, and you can loan them to Serie A at 20. Like that's good development. You're playing senior football in Serie A at 21 years old. That's good. And there's so many other options that we have for the U23 team.
Yeah. I think there's a decent chunk of our current Primavera under 20 squad that's probably not too good, but like the Serie C is just not the level for them.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's like Koki, even some of these defenders.
Maye is good enough for Serie B.
Yeah. Like I'd say a decent
Reciconi.
chunk of them ideally would go to Serie B. And yeah, so this is definitely the right move.
Yeah.
Especially for those guys that have made appearances for us too. Like these guys came on in the Champions League. You can't send them down to Serie C. Like
Yeah, 100%. I agree. We'll have to find some solutions.
Yeah.
Talking about incomings now, we have Angion Boni officially announced on July 5th, which was Saturday, I think. So, suited up and everything. Very happy, seemingly. Good to see him, be next to the trophies and, announce and whatnot. And then we have the 2 guys that we talked about before. Now, I will always say this, I said it last week. I would go for Omar Solé, right? Because Udinese said 25 to 30 million, fine. You're getting a proven player, Serie A proven player as well. I know it's only 6 months, right? But looks very comfortable, Udinese. Almost like too easy for him at times. But seemingly the main 2 targets right now are Giovanni Leoni and Coni De Winter, right? Who are valued at 40 million and 30 million respectively. And in terms of the Coni De Winter deal, Carboni could be inserted into the deal, which obviously is a big advantage. However that will work, we don't know. But yeah, just quickly, guys, who do you prefer and why?
Leoni,
for sure.
Okay, short and sweet.
This guy, there's already talk of him being called up to the Italian national team too. Like this,
he deserves it. He deserves it for sure.
Totally.
But
he knows Kivu.
Yeah.
Bring.
Do you think he's more ready as well? Because I think he's more ready. If we're talking about, slotting right into the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he has more quality for sure. Maybe he doesn't have the composure and experience, but we already have so much experience on this team.
Yeah.
Yep.
We don't need to worry about that, I think.
Plus, he's the perfect player to learn under, whether it's De Vrij, whether it's Acerbi, whether it's Darmian, whether it's even Bastoni. Like we have, our defense department is so full of quality, experience, that it would make total sense.
Yeah. No, I agree. But again, price tag is too high for me. Yeah, the prices are crazy, but we'll probably. I don't think we'll sign anyone, especially because Acerbi and De Vrij look like they're both staying for now anyway. I think that's something to revisit in August. I don't think anything's happening in the next days or weeks for us to clearly say this is gonna happen soon. I think it will drag
itself. It's still early in the market too.
Yeah, exactly.
I've
this
seen
price,
people complaining lately, like, why haven't we done this? Why are these players still here? Like, guys, July 9th, by the
Yeah,
way.
people are panicking for no reason, bro. I don't really get
I
it.
know, like,
if
Um,
we didn't have the Club World Cup transfer window, Sucic and Enrique would have come in July as well. It's like it would have looked
yeah,
like we.
there you go. Now it looks a bit different if you look at it like that.
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If Denzel Dumfries leaves, we talked about his release clause before. There's talks of Dodo, who plays for Fiorentina, which is interesting because Seba Esposito could be included in a deal again, similar to De Winter and Carboni, but obviously this would only be interesting if Dumfries actually leaves. So right now I'm just kind of going to leave it on the side because we don't actually know, right? But I guess
Yeah.
they're just writing down names as you do as a club, right? But
Yeah.
I guess it would be decent. I don't mind him as a player. Is he on Dumfries level? No, but would have to find a replacement, I guess. But I don't think that's something to really worry about right now. And then this was the potential goalkeeper replacement option. I don't know. Do you guys want to talk about Kaneseki much? Because right now, Sommer, we know he might leave. He could leave, but yeah,
I
Both
don't
of
know.
these two rumors, I think, are just names being thrown.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're losing a goalkeeper. Well, there's an Italian goalkeeper in Serie A that you like.
That's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Boom.
obviously, yeah, we know how this goes, yeah. And then just quickly, there's been talks of Christopher Nkunku, Marco Asensio. I'll put up the Nkunku tweet as an example. Again, I know this is Sky Sport reporting it, but is it really like, what are we gonna loan him out? What do you guys think?
I would be shocked
Same.
if Nkunku came. I think I saw Chelsea wanted 40, 50 million for him in January. He earns however much salary, which is way out of however much it is, it's too much.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, they'd have to pay for half of the wages and let us have a low loan
Yeah.
fee, like whatever. It's just, yeah, it's not realistic. And
No.
this is also for the fifth spot for Taremi leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they do it. Neither of them would want to be in that position.
Yeah, definitely a bit too expensive. I don't see it happening, but it's interesting that Sky Sport are reporting it, which clearly means
Yeah.
there's some interest, but I don't
Yeah.
think there's much truth to that. Another bit of drama that we had is Benjamin Pavard playing paddle with some friends, including Theo Hernandez. I don't know what he's doing there. And just on a friend's story, that's how I guess he didn't know this was going to be posted. Bad luck, I guess. But he played paddle whilst he was injured and couldn't play in the Club World Cup, and got sent back home. But Inter has decided not to fine him over this incident. The parties are aligned that with a little bit more common sense, the situation could have been avoided. Really, yeah, this is a bit of a silly story, but I guess they just decided to hug it out. And then just some information on the under 23 team and the main team whenever they start training. Now, let me start with the under 23 team because they actually start next Monday, which is
Let's go.
the 12th? No, the 14th?
13th.
13th?
I think you're right. 14th. The 14th.
Is it the 14th? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So, next week, Monday, with the new manager as well. So we'll have he'll have his medical tests. I don't know what the manager needs to do medical tests for.
I saw someone. Okay, I didn't include it in the tweet, but someone was like, "Yep, like
Yeah,
you read
someone
that
said
right.
manager
They have
also
to do them
medicals.
too. Just policy or whatever.
I mean, they can't have them passing out from the heat.
I mean, bro,
like,
just gotta make sure everything's all good.
nah, what if Sari has to do a medical, bro? It's over. Very interesting stuff. But they start next Monday. Very exciting stuff. And then
Yeah, I'm fired up for that.
I'm very excited as well. And then the first team start on Saturday, 26th of July. Now, there was talks in Gazzetta, again, take it with a pinch of salt, of the players that didn't play against Fluminense / didn't play in the Club World Cup at all. to return on the 22nd, and then the main team to return 27th, 28th. That's obviously been scrapped. Everyone just starts on the same day. I don't know if that's smart or not, but clearly they just want the full squad straight away. Some players get a little bit more rest, some players get a little bit less rest. Sean, you want to say something?
Yeah, it's just it could be that it opens up for some of these players to come back. Some of them have had plenty of rest and vacation time, so if they tell them don't come back until July 22nd or 26th, that's what is that, 3-4 weeks before the start of the season?
Yeah.
I'm good. That's good.
Yeah.
So
When is our first match? Probably like what, August?
We have the last slot on the first match day. We play on the Monday, like literally late August against Torino. It's a home opener. I just saw PSG won 4-0, by the way, so no 5-0, but yeah, Monday, 25th of August.
Yeah, the 25th of August. So almost
The
an entire
25th
month.
is when the season starts? Oh, wow.
Well, it starts on the 22nd, right? The first game's on the 20 or 23rd, but
right.
we play on the Monday, so we have the last slot.
Right. I guess the Club World Cup has just like pushed everything back a little.
Well, I not to just be devil's advocate, but I remember the season starting that late in Italy normally.
Yeah. It always starts like mid-late August.
Oh, because then like the Premier League starts a few weeks earlier, right? And then
2 weeks earlier, yeah.
Or some of these, yeah.
Non si tocca the middle of August, right? They don't.
True.
The 15th of August, they think it's too hot, and they've had to push things forward the last couple of years because of the World Cup in Qatar, the Club World Cup this season. What else? The Euros, having to fit all of this stuff in. They had to start earlier. So I actually think this is back to normal, which is good.
Yeah.
Nice. Helps us.
That was the last piece of the last tweet I had pulled up today, guys. If you guys want to add anything, now is your time to shine. I have nothing to add to this. I think it's some interesting rumors, but yeah.
No, just we're so glad that Thomas was able to join us.
Hey,
let's go.
Big pleasure, man. It's long overdue again.
This is fun. I love talking about this.
The Golden Trio, man. This is definitely.
You guys are killing it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and we'll definitely, we'll rotate a little bit between some guests, but whenever you want to hop on, you're free to hop on. I think we've worked it, we've made it work now, so I definitely think the first time's like, it was good to get you on, and then we'll see from now onwards. But this is the Inter Extra podcast at the end of the day, so it's only right that everyone's involved, but
yes, sir.
We'll try keep the consistency up as we've had it. Again, the first episode with the amount of views kind of blew me away. I was very happy about that. So very grateful. And for now, guys, go on, Sean.
Yeah, it was just to wrap up. Thank you all of you that have been watching, and for over 1,000 views on the first video. Don't forget to like, comment all of your thoughts on everything we've talked about. Subscribe, share these videos with friends, like share it on Twitter, retweet our stuff, and we just really appreciate the support so far. It's been really great. We've been seeing all your comments and everything, so appreciate it. Follow, if you're not following us on X either, follow Inter Extra. And Simi, I'll let you sign us off.
Yeah, guys, as always, make sure you're tuned in next week. Again, we'll probably have some more transfer news. This is the longest episode yet. We'll try and keep it a little bit shorter next week, but we can't expect, or we can't predict what the next week looks like transfer news wise. But covered a lot this week, so yeah, let's see how next week goes. But for now, guys, we're out. From me and everyone, Forza Inter.
Peace.